Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. Today we welcome a special guest, and that's Victor, the founder of Trust Wallet. How are you, Victor?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah,
Real,
really excited to be here.
yeah, I'm really excited. You guys have been integrated with Binance. There's been so much happening lately. So first of all, congratulations. But for those that haven't followed your work, what's a quick history of Trust Wallet, and what's it like to get a phone call from Binance saying we want to integrate with you?
Yeah, totally. So I think everything started about maybe 18 months ago when I realized that crypto is still really early on, and I got some crypto on myself on the Coinbase. And then I was started playing around with like Ethereum and different ERC20 tokens. And then like after some time, maybe like a couple of months later, I realized that crypto is still really inaccessible for the most people. And there's not enough tools, products you can use as a regular Joe. And so at that point, I realized that I really want to build a mobile wallet for my ERC20 tokens. And that was like the problem I was actually tackling for myself personally. And then it turns out to be a product that really helped other people. So in my view, that when you solve your own problems, it's much easier because you see the vision on how that should work. And so problem of inaccessible crypto, that's what I was trying to tackle. Yeah, and maybe a couple of months later, I started to like get more people in the team. We started to get more open source developers, and so product kind of took off. And at some point, we had maybe like 100,000 users. And this is the time I realized that we need to move forward, but we need to have funding. We need to pay all the employees. And at that point, it was only like 2.5 people. And so I thought that it would be a good idea to raise some money for the product. And then we wrote down the white paper for like Trust platform. But then in the end of the day, I realized that the Ether is going to get in trouble with the pricing itself. So if you don't cash out on time, you're going to lose lots of value in the money that you raised, and then you won't be able to sustain as a company. So that's really critical for the wallet because you don't make enough money. So this means that you have runway for about like a year or two at most, unless you have like, free money. So that's doesn't usually happen. So we did like a small private sale, and then like for 5 million. And then I realized that I will get in trouble with like legal side of things maybe because ICO is still not clear how they work. And then I got a call from Binance, and then we realized that we have really good philosophy on what we want to accomplish. And then Binance has all the resources, team. And so we decided that it would be better if my team will join Binance and they will help us to push the product forward. Because at that point, Binance didn't have really good decentralized solutions for the users. And I thought that would be a really good synergy to work together. Yeah, and so my team joined, and now we have like about 10 people in our team to work on this product.
That's fantastic. Congratulations. And as you say, it started off, I think over 90% of projects were launching as ERC20 tokens, and you were addressing that problem. And now you've rebranded as multi-coin wallet across all blockchains. So the number one question people sort of ask is, why isn't there a good wallet for EOS or Cardano yet? I think people don't understand how hard it is to build that software.
Exactly. So there is another problem that I noticed about a year ago is that all the tools are usually specific to a specific platform. So let's say about Ethereum, right? So they have tools for like Go language, for JavaScript, but there's nothing for Swift. That's what you do for the native apps. And then this is the problems we kind of noticed. And now we're trying to address them because we have more resources and knowledge. And so currently we're building something that's called the Wallet Core. So it's going to be a library that will combine all the blockchains into one. So you would need to build integration with Bitcoin or Dash or Ethereum. You'll just have all the classes generated for all the languages that you want to use. So JavaScript, Java, or Swift, this is like primary different like platforms. And so we're going to open source that in about a month. So anyone who wants to build a wallet and have those coins integrated, they would be just able to do it.
So
And so, yeah.
yeah, I was going to say that way it's kind of onto the community. If the capability is there, you're making it very easy to integrate.
Exactly. And you can imagine that every wallet just want to focus on one specific problem, because if you try to compare EOS and Ethereum, implementation wise, it's totally different protocol, and the way you do onboarding is different. So for example, if you compare Ethereum, you just create a wallet, you get an address. With EOS, in order to get an address, you need to register a wallet. So in that sense, you need to put some EOS to stake. So you need to find either somebody who will stake for you, so you can use RAM and CPU. So I think the flows are different, and it's a little bit tricky in that sense.
Yeah, and that's why we see a lot of people, unfortunately, holding their crypto on those exchanges and whatnot, not getting that education. So, what's the other functionalities that you guys want to build in? I know you've spoken about staking. Do you think collectibles are going to be a big part of the future?
Yeah, I think collectibles will be a big part of the future, but might not be this or the next year, but in the upcoming years. Because the way I think now, because I have more knowledge and I kind of see like what people actually need right now, and it seems like speculation is the main use case for crypto. There's nothing you could do. That's what kind of drives people to get crypto, learn about it, and then kind of move on. We can talk about like governance, but governance is going to come like 5 years from now. There's still lots of challenges on how that should be designed. So we'll see that way later in the game. So I think let's just focus on coin support. So we just want to make sure we have infrastructure for all the coins, right? Bitcoin, Monero, like those are hard things to get, but we need to build really good foundation so you can use it anywhere else. Second one, we need to have ability to easily speculate. I mean, it sounds really easy, but at the same time, if you have a ledger, I mean, it's going to take you a while to swap your Bitcoin to your Ethereum because there are so many steps you need to do. So we need to build better solution for decentralized exchanges. So if you have Ledger, like the only way to exchange right now, like put on some centralized exchange, swap, and then put money back to your account. So ideally, you want to build integration with mobile wallets where they connect with your Ledger, Trezor. You do simple transactions. So better UX for decentralized exchange because you want to have control over your keys and never like send it to centralized exchanges. But there's always benefits to each technology. But I personally think that we should be all decentralized in terms of like owning keys. But usually it doesn't really work for some users because they lose phrases and
Yeah, so ideally for those people sitting at home to tie that together, they should have a hardware wallet. They'll be able to plug into Trust Wallet, and that'll be integrated with the Binance desk and DEX, and you can trade and do that all safely from the comfort of your own wallet.
Yeah, exactly. So I think for this year, I think I'm going to put a big bet on decentralized exchanges. So whoever is going to build faster, easier to use, and have more liquidity, I mean, that's going to take off. Because we've seen so many decentralized exchanges on Ethereum, but they all failed in terms of like liquidity and user experience because too slow, not enough liquidity because it's too slow. So you kind of get the point that it's not there yet in terms of like the speed. And then the second use case will be for crypto, which will come next, is the payments. So they're already happening, right? People send money from one country to another. But when I say payments, I'm assuming like you can actually pay for the merchants. So this is where we need to push really hard on actually companies accepting crypto, right? We need to build better invoicing system. So if you have a client who wants to take crypto, you just send them a link, they pay, and it goes into your accounting. So those are the tools we need to build to kind of establish the business relationship in crypto, and that could take off. So I think this is kind of the basics that we need to cover first.
Yeah, we're very lucky in Australia that we already have a couple of hundred merchants accepting crypto directly, but they tend to get more excited once the price starts going up, more likely to accept it as well. So in the future, a bit further on, looking out, what are your thoughts on like DApps and that marketplace and that web browser you're building into the wallet as well?
Yeah, so we started with simple idea to have just access to CryptoKitties, right? This is what was missing. Like you couldn't access CryptoKitties last year from mobile, now you can. And so that was like the one challenge I wanted to build. And then I realized there are so many different apps that built on top of it. So one of them will be like, CDP market for DAI or Compound where you can loan money and just earn interest. So I think these are the like financial products that's going to change the way, the whole financial industry works, right? I mean, still lack of speed and performance, but that's going to come all together. But I personally think there is a problem that we're solving this month is specific to tokens and DApps. And then the way I see it is that you have so many different tokens, and most people ask the same question, like, what do you do with this token, right? And then we want to have a connection between the tokens and utility. So imagine you have a token like Wrap, which is used for Augur. Imagine that like from the token view, you can just say like, oh, I can go to Augur and then do some actions with it. So I think this is how we want to like interconnect tokens and dApps all together. And then that's something that will be really beneficial for the users, right? So then once you go to Bitcoin, you can see like, oh, here's all the merchants that accept crypto in your like area. Here's the Bitcoin you can buy here or sell there. So I think we want to build more like a marketplace for tokens so you can actually utilize them, not just store, right? So this is our responsibility to push the market in that direction.
That's fantastic. So you're talking about anyone that has all these tokens that they're speculating on, they can click on Golem and it says, oh, this one's for resources for computer. Oh, geez, I might use that. It's really building that straight into the wallet.
Exactly. Because if you just think about dApp Store, right, you go to a dApp Store, but then you see only limited number of dApps that you can use. But at the same time, we don't really know what the user really wants, right? So we need to have a build analytics system, which will allow to kind of analyze what kind of wallets you have, what kind of tokens you have. And based on your tokens, build a suggestion engine that says like, oh, because you have so many crypto collectibles, maybe I'm going to show you this like most popular apps that you can use as games, right? Because probably that person would like games rather than some, exchanges. So we need to be better at like suggesting, not being just really plain and say like, oh, this is the most popular one. But we need to really need to kind of learn from the interest of the user, because your tokens, it's your identity. So it means that if you have CryptoKitty, that kind of means that this is your identity, this is what you like. And then based on the crypto collectibles, you really understand the personality of the person.
I find it really interesting you talking about speculation still being the main use case, because that's the facts at the moment. We just don't have the users using these DApps. But do you think we've gone through a wave and there's another wave that is going to be driven again by speculation? Is Bitcoin going to lead that, or is the next wave more about real world use?
Yeah, I do believe that speculation is the key right now. But if you think about raising money, I think token sales are the way to go. It's much easier, but there is still questions regarding are the money that you're raising actually useful to you? Because if you think about like a venture fund, when you raise money, you get lots of help from the investors because they're really incentivized to help you. But then if you raise money on the token sale, that you sometimes get too many people that you really don't want to have, and they're like part of the community. So it's kind of tricky. But I personally think that tokens are good for raising money for sure. So That's a good use case. And it's going to be happening for the next like 10, 20 years. So the question is like, how much scam do you see? So that depends on the education of the user.
And do you buy into this thesis that we're going down the STO path, or do you think that's all just a completely different kettle of fish and we're going to swing back to more ICOs and different utilities?
I think it will be both. I think there's lots of utility you could build. At the same time, you can sell shares of your company, right? But the problem with shares, if you sell them, then you need to comply with the law, right? With utility tokens, is different. You don't need to comply with the law because it's utility. So I think we need to build both. We need to build a really good platform for security tokens. So we need to make compliance, whitelisting, make sure there is KYC all in place. So that will come. It's probably going to start from countries like United States because they have so many different rules, and then they're the biggest player in the market.
So what excites you most about working with Binance? We've covered them a lot on the channel about the DEX and everything they're planning on doing, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it all.
Yeah, I really think that CZ is a good leader. He pushes crypto a lot. So, that's why I joined Binance, because I really liked his vision on what kind of problems we want to tackle in crypto. So because of that, I'm probably really excited to help decentralized movement to move forward. So for me personally, like coins, as assets, we need to support as much as we can because we want to be really open for anything. Then we want to support DApps so we can allow anyone to kind of access decentralized world. And Binance has really small but really efficient team to move this forward.
And what regions globally excite you most? We've seen a lot of speculation come from places like Australia and the US, but are you bullish on these little countries that Binance are trying to expand into, for example?
Every country will have their own use case, that's for sure. So let's think about US. US is only focused on speculation and investment right now. No one really uses crypto here. So basically, I live in Mountain View. In the 30 miles area, there's 0 places that will take Bitcoin from an address. The only coffee shop I found was taking crypto, but you need to use email to send to a Coinbase account. This is how you can see development in US. It's nothing. There's no crypto merchants that accept yet. So if you think about Venezuela, then there's more people accepting crypto. And then just because, the banking system is like so destroyed. And if you think about Australia, then there's like so many merchants accept crypto, which is like super exciting to me. And then you can even pay your utilities with Bitcoin, which is amazing. So I think every country will have their own use case, depends on like what's missing from the current infrastructure.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I've really enjoyed that interview today. We could talk about so many different things. I guess final question would be, what do you see being the main driver of crypto adoption? Do you think we're going to have another GFC style event, or there's going to be hyperinflation in all these developing countries, or what's going to be the number one thing that gets more people into the crypto space?
Tricky question. I think if I knew, then it would be much easier. But I think you need to find the use case for each country, right? So if we think Venezuela, then we need to think how we can help those people to achieve goals that they have. So if we think about United States, that we want to build better financial system, because currently banking system in US is like really bad, really bad. So banks still use really old protocols like SOAP or XML. So I think this is a good example that you cannot really innovate unless you build a new platforms. So if you think about US, then we probably want to build better investment platforms so anyone could easily invest, acquire tokens, shares, and anything. And then yeah, but it's tricky to answer that.
Good answer anyway, I think. So I'll put all the links in the description below to follow Trust Wallet. Any final thoughts for anyone? I'd love to do a tutorial on it again in the future as well.
Yeah, I personally think that everyone who in crypto needs to play a role as a person who will innovate and also bring more people into crypto, right? So if you think there's a person who doesn't know about crypto, you need to educate them. You need to install them like Trust Wallet, put some $5 in their wallets to kind of learn how it works and send them like some CryptoKitty or some collectible to play around with. So I think it's our responsibility to educate users on how security works with private keys. You want to make sure that people actually pay attention and writing it down or like saving somewhere safe on your iPhone. So I think this is how we can move decentralized movement forward, just starting from basics. You don't need to talk about like implementation of Bitcoin, but you can talk about like the like high level overview why crypto is really good for society.
I think that's a great place to finish. Everyone can be a crypto ambassador. So thanks so much for joining us today, Victor.
Alrighty, that was nice talking to you.
Cheers, guys.